And hello, party people. Welcome back to another NRW review. That's right, another NRW review for all our fans in internet land. And we're back, and Rob and I are happy again. To come back with another review with our Scott Adkins, series?
Yeah.
Question mark? Because we might do another one. I don't know. But I'm your host, Daven Estacado, and I'm here with my buddy from Another Nutty, which I already said, Mr. Rob, the movie guy. I know you're hype again for part 2.
And yes,
Atkins review. I think this movie just dropped, right? Or
no, it did not. This movie dropped maybe less than 2 years ago, maybe a little bit more than that, if I'm not mistaken. I think it came out in 2018. But since you guys are here now, maybe you guys already noticed from the title card there, but we are reviewing, another Scott Adkins film called Avengement. Yes, this is a wonderful movie, but we'll get into our thoughts here in this film. But
before we do, roll the clip.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Hold on, mate. Members only.
If you want me to break one of my rules and lend you money, then you're going to have to do something for me.
You follow her home. You take the bag off of her, and you bring it back here. You come back here without that bag, you're on your own.
Guilty as charged. Your sentence is extended by 1 year. We hereby find you guilty 2 years.
So that was worth it, mate.
20 grand.
From where?
Think your brother's bankrolling it.
My brother did this. Come on in. Don't be shy.
And we're back. And that's the trailer. Now, if that doesn't get you hyped, I don't know what will. Man, this is a completely different movie than Undisputed 2. Yeah. And I think this is the better movie. I'm gonna have to say that. Yeah. Scott Adkins really shows his acting chops here. Yeah. In this film, completely different character, completely different accents, completely different everything. And man, I'm loving the cast, man. Like,
right.
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Yeah. Green Street Hooligans. You got Craig Fairbanks in the background. You can see on the background on your background there. If you guys don't know who Craig Fairbanks is, he is one of the best parts in one of the most highly regarded action films out there in Cliffhanger. If you remember him in that movie, he was the guy that got beat up by not beat up. He got killed by Michael Rooker in the movie in that wonderful scene where he's doing his whole.
And if you haven't seen that movie, go see that movie.
Please do. But do. So as you were talking about, British cast, love it. It's set in London. There are a bunch of Cockneys in there. Oh my God, it was fucking amazing. I love this.
It was great. Like it had that Lock, Stock, and like it was almost like it felt like a Guy Ritchie film almost. You kind of had some of this.
You could say that.
It didn't have that, the weird transitions, which I'm kind of glad they didn't do that. But then did have like its sequences.
Yeah, well, I mean, so
we can talk so much about the great acting cast. The cast did a fantastic job. Even the minor characters did a good job. They were believable. Yeah. Couple of things that were kind of funny and odd, but whatever. It's a movie. Everything's gonna be almost as perfect, but
So let's get into it here because the trailer kind of definitely gave what the plot is about, and we can go in a little further with that. Standard plot: brother goes to jail, and played by Scott Adkins here, and he escapes from jail to confront his brother. And I'd rather not spoil the film here for you because there's some things that, even though it's a pretty straightforward story, some of the mystery that starts to unfold in front of you, you start realizing, okay, now you understand the motives for these characters. You understand why they did what they did, and development for these characters throughout the film, especially for Scott Adkins, who, what you see in the film, it's just a piece of that little pie there, and he does a great. Oh my God, that guy does a great job in this movie. And yes, it's a different. I mean, imagine if Yuri Boyka was Cockney. That's pretty much what I gotta say. Imagine Yuri Boyka being a Cockney Cockney fighter, and this is what you would get. And you said it best. Scott Adkins shows a different range here, and you see that showcase in the film. And this movie had come out I think 10 years after Undisputed 2 had come out, and you can see that his acting abilities has changed and has gotten better throughout the years. And this film, I believe, is one of his best in his filmography here. And you mentioned the cast. Everyone else was fantastic. I mean, really, what else can we say about the film that we haven't really established here? The film is awesome. Action scenes were phenomenal. And it wasn't like a standard action movie where, like you saw in Undisputed 2 or some of his other action films. More of like an action film of a man who was fighting with pure rage and pure hatred. And he is fighting with savage mode. And it is phenomenal. Like, I was like, wow, this is one of his. I'm not joking, guys. This is one of his best films, and I give a lot of credit to the director. I think his name is Jesse Johnson, if I'm not mistaken, and the cast. The choreography is great, and the character development, like we mentioned before. I mean, I can go on for hours about this stuff. I mean, what else do you want to add on to this here?
Oh man, the story was really well done. Once you figure out it was all kind of how it's revealed, kind of oh well, yeah, everyone deserves to get their asses kicked and faces blown off. And this, and I have to give it. You're right. The action sequences are freaking brutal, and they do not hold back from the blood and some gore, man. Yep. During the action scenes, especially in the prison scenes.
Oh yeah.
And I just love how the movie just keeps escalating it. Every single flashback, and every time it goes back to a fight, and Scott Adkins' character, Kane, just bring it. I'm like, Winter, fuck him up. You get this adrenaline rush. As this movie goes on,
and you kind of feel bad for him too.
You feel sympathetic for him.
That's what I liked about it in this film, because you understand his position. But you understand why he is, you understand his aggression behind that, and then when he goes through the motion of, especially when he escapes from the prison, I mean, as cheesy as the escape is, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not complicated how they pulled it off. It's I'm not saying I'm not gonna reveal it. When you see it for yourself, you'll understand. You're like, oh, makes sense, but sure, it works for the film. But the best parts, I have to say, for me, are the bar scenes. Because, yes, there are some action scenes in the bar scenes, but the dialogue and the storytelling. Oh, my God, it was amazing.
Fantastic. And, that's what I'm talking about. His range from the film, especially in some of the flashback sequences, where, he's a younger version of himself. And you see him become this hardened, angry,
prisoner.
Psycho. Throughout, because of his stint in prison, you see that transformation.
And he served 7 years in prison.
Yes, because he kept getting fucked up. He kept adding sentences, added
7 years of just nonstop fighting and building up that aggression. That can take a man out. And
you sympathize with him, and they give you this emotional punch to the gut, at the beginning. You didn't realize how much of a punch to the guts it was in the beginning of the film. But at the beginning of the film, it kind of opens up with him. You kind of see, all right, I wonder where this is going. It builds up tension really quickly in the beginning of the movie. Especially him seeing his mother passing away, finding out his mother passing away. And then the story behind that really kind of builds up this sympathy and builds up oh, okay, now I'm getting why everything kind of turned out the way it did. And, again, Scott Adkins just pretty much stole this movie. From you can feel that emotional. You can feel the anger.
Yep.
You can see the anger, and that emotional impact. Like when he finally gets to see his mother, like, oh, he's gonna snap, and he does in a wonderfully gruesome way. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I loved it because like I said earlier, I've loved Guy Ritchie films. All right, I love your British Cockney gangster films, and you have that throughout the whole movie. Like this, it's pretty much a gangster heist film with revenge plot thrown in because of it, and I liked it. I really enjoyed it. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's the movie's a lot of fun. There's no doubt about that. I mean, so. Okay, so so we got that covered up. Now let's talk about something else about the film that I know we touched upon about how it has some kind of weak moments in there.
It does.
Some of the weak moments are, for me. I'm not sure if you feel the same way about this. Was I mentioned about the prison escape, which was fun to watch. I'm not gonna say it was bad, but it was a little convenient how they were able to pull it off. But again, it was done well. Another thing that I had a problem with here too, for me personally, was how the character, Scott Adkins' character, Kane, how he was introduced in the flashback scene. You can see that he's a different, I guess you can say more or less innocent, if you will. Mm-hmm. And you kind of get an idea of he was kind of the black sheep of the family, but you don't really get much of that. You're almost just pretty much told through his brother and how everyone else reacts to Kane through idea. Okay, so clearly they don't like the guy. He's kind of just looked down upon, and he's just trying to, hey, help me out with this. And I wish we could see a little bit more of that part of the character to kind of really get a full understanding of okay, so now I can see that he was basically he's a guy who takes advantage of the situation and he messes everything up. That's why they look at him like this. But rather than just simply, when he arrives, oh, here he goes. That's here's Kane. Going to ask for something again. You don't really feel much what really was going on behind the scenes that led up to these characters feeling that way about Scott Adkins' character. I wish there was more of that. I think that was, for me, one of the weakest points of the film. I'm not sure if you felt that way about that introduction in the flashback sequences. I know you had touched upon other things too before we started recording about this. So I don't know if you want to elaborate on that or bring something else up here.
Yeah. Well, actually, there was the fact that Scott Adkins is actually kind of helped produce the film, actually, because he it was kind of collab between him and I guess the director, Jesse Johnson, because there was I guess several script rewrites before they kind of got to what the film was, and I think you could kind of see that once you see the film. I could kind of all right, you could tell where this could have been a different film. It could have been a different, especially really with the dialogue. The dialogue really made up the film. I'm gonna have to say, I think so too. It was one of the major highlights. But then, the fact of the loan shark situation and how they're scamming people and all that, I guess you could tell where the rewrites from and where they you took a little bit of old parts and rewrites of the new script there. It's not a big discrepancy other films where it's completely disjointed. But now watching back and looking back, okay, I could see where this was, you could tell okay, maybe this was a rewrite, or they kind of extended some scenes.
Yeah, it was basically felt patched up. They're just trying to patch things up to kind of fill in certain scenes to lead up to the next thing. And you're right, it didn't take away from the film, but I felt like they could have done a little bit more to work on that better. But I mean, you can tell with this film, they actually had more time to develop the script
way more
and to put into production. I mean, they really put in the effort. Not to say that the other Scott Adkins films, especially when we with Undisputed 2, they didn't have a lot of time to get the scenes done and working with the development of the character. They did what they could in a short span of time, and they did a good job with what they've got. You can see the time was definitely put into the film.
And you can tell they really take their time to kind of bring that out. Even with we had to rewrite this. Let's just stick with this and see what we can bring out. And man, they did a fantastic job. Yeah. Their action sequences, the choreography in the bar scene was probably my favorite. Yeah, my favorite part of the freaking throwing each other into bar stores, into the bar tables, and flipping stuff over.
Beer bottles.
So much booze. My God. It was nuts. And then having the bartender get involved in it too was was fantastic. I don't know. In my head, I kind of thought like, maybe at the end of the film that she might, finally join his side after she has everything went down. I think that would have been kind of funny to see. But no, it really, it kind of really kind of tied everything together.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And I kind of, and you could see where like I said earlier, they kind of took their time to kind of try to patch everything up and kind of bring it together at the end of the film.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping for, it was a great fight scene, great climax. I was just thinking more, I wanted more of a climactic finale with the final brothers.
Yeah, I agree with you.
They left me with wanting something more because you're building up this story, you're building up all this, and it's like, it was like I wanted a little bit more. Like I don't know what it would like. It left me with wanting more, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you on that. But even with that payoff at the end, it didn't leave me too much. It didn't leave too much left to be desired because the way that it closes up, I thought it was fitting. But yes, there was more they could have added to that, and that might be one of the things about budget or timing. Maybe Craig Fairbanks, who played his brother, didn't have enough time to shoot with whatever additional stuff they wanted to add onto that. That could be a factor too, because you can tell obviously this is a low budget film, but certain scenes don't feel that way, especially with the amount of time they took to really build up the story and really allow the cinematography to breathe. And in the barroom scene, I'm telling you guys, the barroom scene in this movie were really the best parts of the film. Even the prison scenes, which were phenomenal, but the barroom scenes, like that's where most of the development takes place there, because that's where you're having a lot of expositions, but the expositions are being told through the actual scenes themselves. You can see that development. There's none of that. And then I went to prison and I had to fight my way through. And then you have the other guys listening, and then you don't see what he actually went through. And here they established that those flashback scenes to good use here, and that's how you do it. I mean,
that was fantastic. I'm glad you brought that up, because exactly what I was going to say. Like, yes, there's a lot of exposition.
Yes,
but man, they pretty much did it to the point where, like, yes, there's a flashback scene, but you actually get to see the freaking character development of why it got up to the point that it did. Unlike other movies where, like, well, they just give you all the exposition with the dialogue. I'm like, that's great and it works for some films, but I wanted to see that take place, and I want to see that character development, and you get to see that. You get to see him turn into this hardened criminal and plot his way. I'm like, as soon as I get back, I'm going to get everything back for not just myself, but everybody involved.
And the one other thing about when he sets up those scenes where you see the flashbacks kicking in, once those scenes end and it reverts right back to the present time, you can see that he's continuing telling the story. So you like, because he's setting up the story. You see the events unfold in front of your eyes through the flashback scene, and then at the end of what happens in that scene, it goes right back to the present time where he's like, and that's what ended up happening. And then you screwed me over, and then I had to go through this, and you kind of fill in the gaps for some of the events that led up to the next sequence of events that kind of they have to go back to here. So yeah, I mean, the writing for me in this film was really good. I really see that Scott Adkins is a wonderful storyteller, but wonderful in telling stories with action. And he clearly has a passion for what he did in this film, and it shows in this movie. Like, this guy's really invested a lot of time into this film, and so did everyone else. I mean, they've got some top-notch British Cockney actors here, and I'm not joking with you guys. If you don't look at the list of actors in this film here, there's a lot of work that these guys have done in British cinema, and a lot of them have done great work. Mm-hmm. Some are cheesy, no doubt, but there are some work that come to mind. Green Street Hooligan, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, several other films out there in British cinema, particularly with Cockney actors here. And this film, I was excited to see that, because here they are in an action film, but an action film with a story, and I loved it. There's no way they could have just got those guys in the film and got away with the cheesy actionness, and because they would have never served the purpose here. Everyone had a purpose, and they served their purpose very well. And I was very pleased with this film. I mean, there's really nothing else I can add to this here other than check the movie out, because it's awesome. it really is. I think it's currently streaming on Netflix right now. So if you got Netflix, go to Netflix right now and stream this movie, because it's worth an hour 40 minutes, if that.
Yeah.
Worth your time, I think. And
like, if you're a fan of gangster films, watch it. If you're a fan of that Guy Ritchie feel, watch it. If you're just trying to see some like messed up, brutal action sequences, this is right up your alley. And I mean, again, Scott Adkins freaking delivers on this. Like you can see his range as a character, transform, so to speak, into this psycho badass Avengement machine. And everyone else in the cast does a fantastic job as well. Like even the side characters did a fantastic job, because it's a shame, because I did want to see more of the detectives. I want to see some more of those guys that were involved with the case too, because they kind of had a bit of a bit part almost. And even the one guy's his accountant himself had a kind of a decent, okay, cool. Like he has some pretty good action chops here, and I wanted to see some more of the rest of these cast here. They're worth watching the film for as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's pretty much our thoughts here in the film. So overall, your final thoughts on the film here, because as we already established here, we love this movie. So
I really like the movie. I love the action sequences. Again, Atkins delivers a hell of a performance in this film. And he can only go far up from here. This guy needs a push. He does. Like he needs something to kind of show off some more. And I think this is one of those movies that's starting to show some of that. Here, I want to see the rest of the cast. I love the rest of the guys and everything else. I love Green Street Hooligans, and I love the fan of these films. I want more of these films, these Guy Ritchie-like films, gangster films. And is it the best? Is it up there with the rest? It's not the best, but it's up there. I enjoyed it, and I definitely a watch. Definitely go see it. I give it a high cheers.
Same here as well. So those are our thoughts here on the film. And since you guys are here right now, let us know what you guys think of the film here. Because listen, if you guys have followed me on social media, you guys know that I'm a huge Scott Adkins fan, and I've been since I saw Undisputed 2 many moons ago. And I'm telling you guys right now, check out his filmography, because this guy has done a great set of action films. And they're not difficult films to watch. They're just straight to the point action film, but they're really, really good and a lot of fun. So let us know what you guys think. Have you guys watched any other Scott Adkins films? If you have, which one did you like? Did you like this one? Do you consider this being one of his best films? Because I personally think it's one of his top-rated films in his filmography here.
Most definitely.
And also, while you're at it, be sure to subscribe here. And also, we here have a goal in NRW. We want to see if you guys can help us get up to 1,000 subscribers here, because right now,
pump those numbers up, buddy.
Right now, we're at 752,
750, 760.
Yeah. So we're trying to aim to get to 1,000. So if you can help us out here, reach that to that goal here, we would greatly appreciate here. And let us know what you guys want us to review here, because believe me, we'll review just about everything here: action, horror, comedy, romance, bromance, everything. So let us know what you guys want to review, and believe me, we'll watch out for what you guys want us to review, and we'll get into it here. And while you're here, like I said before, subscribe, hit that like button here, and of course share. And be sure to follow NRW here on the social media accounts here. You can follow NRW on Facebook at New Release Wednesdays, and also on Instagram at New Release Wednesdays as well, and on Twitter at the NRW. Myself here on social media. On Instagram, simply Rob_Medina0585. And on Twitter, RobMedina0585. And on Facebook, Rob the Movie Guy here. And my buddy from another day over there, where can they follow you, good sir?
You can follow me on my Twitter and my Instagram at Daven is Disaster, where I post random memes and stuff about NRW and other pop culture stuff. And you can follow me on my wrestling page, personal page at Daven A. Estacado, where I post a bunch of indie stuff, indie wrestling stuff, and other pop culture stuff, because I'm just a nerd as much as you guys. And what Rob said, I'm going to have to piggyback on that. Let us know what you want us to watch too. If you like Scott Adkins, let us know the other action heroes that we're missing out on. Of course, we all grew up on Rambo and other old 90s stuff, but who do you recommend that we should be watching? We'll definitely sit back and review it. And watch, if you like what me and Rob are doing, watch what the rest of the NRW crew is doing, because we touch everything from comic books, video games, movies, obviously, and more, including other stuff that we might dabble into. Maybe food. We could do food reviews, just argue with you online, because you know what we're trying to do. Do what we love here. We love movies and pop culture, and if that's what you're into, follow us, hit that like, subscribe, and pump those numbers up with us. But besides that, that's it. Just follow us. Let us know. Argue with us. Hit that bell and argue. And
show some love while you're out there too.
Yeah, hit us up.
All right, guys. Well, until next time, guys. You guys be safe out there, and remember, cheers.
Cheers.
We're